So today what we're going to discuss here is got few topics here, introduction to SAP HANA, and I also have use cases, projects, or whatever we can call while working in SAP HANA, and also the course objective and focus, what we're going to see in these 40 days of 50 hours of session, and then finally question and answers. So I'm going to have these 4 topics covered today in the next hour. So the introduction is going to be just 10 minutes, and then I'm going to continue with the use cases or projects for different platforms in SAP HANA, which is going to take 30 to 40 minutes of time, and it gives a lot of exposure about what are the different projects we're going to work on SAP HANA. Could it be S4, BW, or native HANA? And among all those different perspectives or projects, what is the course objective? What we are going to focus on this in this 40 days, 40 hours of session, and what I'm going to provide in this course, etc. All these going to be covered in this third topic, which is going to be course objective or focus. And then finally, we will be looking at the question and answers. Whatever the questions you come across, it could be about the course, it could be a general question, anything we can discuss in the last 15 minutes. If you have any questions while I'm going through these topics, you can put it in the chat window. I will be able to answer by looking at the text message from there. And then I'll spend a little bit time of the development approach. So if you are familiar with how SAP was working before, it used to be a traditional 3-layered architecture where your database is going to sit in the bottom, and then you got an application layer, and then on top of that you got a presentation layer or UI, user interface layer. So the data is going to be available in the database layer, and then all your processing logics are going to be in application layer, and then when user requests something on the user interface, application layer is going to communicate with the database layer and tries to get the data from the database layer and process it in application layer and then pushes to UI. So that is any traditional R3 or 3-tier architecture landscape is being used by SAP for all the previous years and traditionally. And for that matter, it's common in all the other applications as well. 3-tier architecture. What is changed with the development approach is going to be all the time SAP was trying to say keep all your logics in the application layer, which happens to be your ABAP for SAP guys. That is the programming language SAP has developed initially, and then people start using ABAP extensively in the application layer to interact with the database and then communicate further to the front-end layer, which could be a portal or web, any of the front-end UI application. That was the case, traditional case. But with the HANA introduction, they wanted to get the maximum power of what database can do. So SAP is trying to push the data, all the logics to the database layer instead of the application layer. So we are trying to reduce all the coding from the application to the database, so that the processing can be much faster in the database, and then results can be accessed much faster way than it used to be before and in traditional application language. So in our development approach, if going forward, a lot of things will be pushed or changed to do it in the database versus in the application. So there's going to be gradually less work to be done in the application layer, which is going to be your ABAP NetWeaver layer, and then more onto the database layer. So that is the paradigm of the development approach. We're going to see in detail over the period of course about what is going to be done in the database layer versus application layer. So but the target objective is move the calculations to the database versus application. On the bottom you also see a little journey of HANA, how it was introduced. And you can see from the left side that the HANA was introduced initially with the as an in-memory platform database in 2011, and it was given initially for real-time analysis and real-time for reporting and reporting purpose only, not for transaction purpose. So it happens to be SAP's business warehouse, or BW, is the data warehousing and reporting application. So the HANA database is initially started with BW application as a database, so to accelerate the data reporting, querying and accessing, and later they also introduced this HANA platform to business suite, which is UCC, traditionally they call, and eventually it got changed to S4 HANA with a lot of simplification of the finance and logistics models in there. So we also have B4 HANA or BW for HANA for the BW systems to be running on HANA. But whatever the applications, it could be a CRM or your S4, it could be BW4, but the underlying database is going to be HANA database, the enterprise HANA platform. So that is the thing which we are going to see more in detail versus the application things for the application developers. And lastly, about the introduction, you got the database platform release. I'm not talking about anything from the application perspective, which is S4 or BW, HANA, or etc. I'm purely talking about from the database perspective. So we have database starting from 1. .o. It initially started with service pack 00, and then it ended with SP12. So that was the latest, that was the last service pack in HANA 1.0. And then they started HANA 2.0, and then SP00, 2. Now 3 also released in the last month, April. So the latest version what we have currently available from SAP is HANA 2 SP03. We're going to have this course based off SP02, which was at least a little bit more stabilized by now, and the software what I have got from the Express Edition is the SP02. I haven't upgraded to SP03 yet, so we're going to see more from the SP02 version. And further service packs in 2.0 are going to be delayed. Delayed means they're going to release one service pack every year. It was not like before. Every 3 months one service pack, or 2 months they keep pushing different service packs in 1.0. But going forward, it's going to be one service pack per year. So which means SP04 will come in next April 2019. So until then, it is going to be SP03. It could be several revisions, patches, but major service pack release is going to be in next April. You can find more information about the service packs in the product availability matrix of SAP website. Okay, that's the end of introduction to SAP HANA and the evaluation of SAP HANA and the different versions what we going to see, what we have come across in the last few years. And then we will move on to the next topic, which is going to be HANA use cases. And then I'll give a pause. If you have any questions in the topics which we just talked about, we can address now. You can. I already muted all the participants, and if you have any questions, you can just put it on the chat window. I can read the text message, and I will be able to explain what you got to ask. Yeah, you can keep typing your messages. I will be going ahead with the next topic, which is going to take a little bit more time, and then there could be more questions in the use cases. I mean, I'm not stopping you to post any questions in the text window. You can keep posting whenever you got something to ask, or I'll be going ahead with this concept, and then I'll be answering the questions at the end of this use case documentation. Yes. Okay, so let's start with use cases. This is going to be a very interesting topic. I've been trying to explore these different modules of SAP HANA in the past 3 years. There was always a confusion around these topics to many people. I was trying to address with several blogs, and I was trying to give more information about the use cases in my previous videos which were published in YouTube channel or previous courses. It's very simple if you understand clearly, so that you will know what you're going to do in the next. If you are not really sure about what you are learning, there is no real use of that. So I will suggest to understand the use cases or the projects of SAP HANA from objective perspective, so that you will get a good understanding on what going to you learn and what is benefit, if it is beneficial to you or not. Okay, so my course I'm talking more here is about data warehousing and analytics. I'm not talking about ECC, which contains ERP business of FICO, sales and distribution. I'm not a functional person. I'm not really going to talk about integration between different models of SD, MM, FICO. That's all functional and it's more ERP. And in order to support your ERP business, you will have some functional technical people who codes the requirements to customize the transaction screens and processing reports and etc. using ABAP. So that is not the area which I'm focusing here. It's because HANA, it means it's for analytical applications, which is, of course, we are using it for data processing also, but it's meant for analytics. So there is always transaction processing, which is OLTP and OLAP, analytical processing. Whatever the analytics dashboards and reporting things which business is interested, it could be a strategic reporting or it could be your operational reporting. They have to be super fast enough to give the results to the business heads, so that it makes sense to use the high analytical applications like HANA or any other database platforms. So that is the main driver for going forward in-memory platform to access the data much faster. So I'm not really going to talk anything from the functional perspective or the programming perspective of the data processing, which is not my big use case for the HANAs. So my use case for HANA are going to be surrounded with data warehousing and analytics. So in that perspective, I have got three different scenarios. The first one you can see is your native data warehouse, which is here. You got your pure database platform, and you got different database, HANA native supported ETL tools to extract the data from different source systems and store the data in the in-memory database platform and then provide it to reporting and analytics. That's the primary use case, which I'm going to discuss a lot in for future sessions. And of course, it's going to be the objective of the course again. Anyway, I'm going to come to this point in the later section. And the second group is S4HANA Analytics. So S4HANA is huge. We're not going to see S4HANA in detail. People always confuse S4HANA course. I saw people saying S4HANA course, S4HANA course. Technically, there is no S4HANA course. I haven't seen any people who talks about S4HANA course. If I have to talk about S4HANA course, which is completely different. So there wasn't any which talks about three major things. S4HANA backend, which contains a lot of ABAP programming, which is how the ABAP was coded before in ECC. When it is migrated to S4HANA, what it is changed to S4HANA. There are going to be a lot of checks performed after migration to S4HANA. The compatibility, the sustainability of the old ABAP code or custom ABAP code which was in ECC, how it is translated to S4HANA after the migration. All those things will come in S4HANA. It is not what HA100 or HA300, the HANA modeling. These are all the not topics of S4HANA, frankly speaking. So if you are going to be an S4HANA ABAP, I would say S4HANA consultant means it is an ABAP consultant. Basically a true ABAP consultant will be an S4HANA consultant. to transform the ECC and HANA to S4HANA in terms of migrations, as well as sustainability and compatibility check for all the previous programs in the new platform of S4HANA. But that is one topic, and then second topic is going to be on the Fiori, which is going to be UI5 front-end app development. For that, there are going to be UI developers, which concentrates more on jQuery, AngularJS, and other technologies, HTML, CSS. These are the front-end UI technologies which are used for UI5 and Fiori apps. So S4 is completely integrated with Fiori apps. So the front-end developer is going to customize UI5 apps in SAP Cloud Platform, and the back-end developer is going to work on ABAP mainly. And there is very few cases I have seen that in S4HANA people are going to use a native HANA directly, working on the calculation views or native objects while working on S4HANA system. So people who are saying S4HANA course, I would say this is not an SAP S4HANA course. But I also see that many many students or participants asking me S4HANA, and they're claiming that it is S4, and they're in a assumption that understanding the HANA native platform is S4HANA. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with S4HANA application database platform. ABAP layer and Fiori application. It has completely nothing to do with what is in. But what I'm going to cover in this course is analytics part, which is only for the S4 analytics to do some reporting on the S4 tables. That's only a small portion of S4 HANA, but it is not everything of S4 HANA. So I'm again saying I'm not going to do a lot of data warehousing or any data processing with ABAP, anything etc. in S4, and also Fiori developments. I'm going to focus only on the analytics part from the S4 HANA, which is going to be core data services views. I will also explain the reason why should I tell this core data services when I am explaining the HANA use cases in detail in the next 15 minutes. And then the third use case is BW for HANA, which is the very big use case. Though we don't have much developments happening in this BW for HANA space, but it is a very big use case for the customers who are working on data warehousing and analytics space. There are bunch of clients who are already having BW system. They are obviously migrating to BW for HANA system for sure. Most of the clients, whatever the places I've worked in the previous few years, most of the clients migrating their application of BW to BW for HANA. They're going to see a lot of projects in BW for HANA, and they're going to use the underlying HANA database platform or not. That's different. That's up to the clients. Are they going to use HANA natively, or they're going to use everything the BW application, and just they will use the HANA license as a runtime license, not as an enterprise HANA licensing. There's a lot of difference between runtime license and enterprise license. Runtime license is when you're working in S4 HANA or BW for HANA, you more work on BW application or S4 application, which is your ABAP. You don't do anything in the native database. For that purpose, SAP offers runtime license for SAP HANA. Right? It's only runtime. You're not really natively doing anything. In order to do all the developments in the underlying database, SAP offers enterprise license, which is an extra cost for the business customers to purchase it. So you'll understand what is natively done, what is on the application wise done in the next oops. So I'm going to open an Excel spreadsheet to explain the use cases which I just talked about. So I've got three tabs. One is native data warehouse, and then I'm going to talk about S4 HANA and BW for HANA, three different use cases. So as a data warehousing and reporting and analytics consultant, you'll be working on one of these three projects, but not all the projects at one point of time. It is 100% not possible. It could be a mix of your native plus BW. It could be a mix of native plus S4. It could be a mix of BW plus S4 HANA Analytics. it could be a mix of one or two, but it definitely not all these three different things together. It doesn't make any I mean, it makes sense, but it is hard to get all these three different uses together for data warehousing analytics. But if you are good with these three data warehousing cases, you're like an extremely very good developer in SAP HANA space. Let me explain what are these use cases and what you may have to know in these use cases. I also show you how they look like in the system. Then I'll answer the questions on this plot. That's the main objective of my course. Yeah. Okay, the first one is native data warehousing. You can see from this picture that the center object here is going to be my database. Here in this case, I purchased, or the client purchased, HANA license for enterprise license, which contains your all the database platform features of data provisioning, data modeling, and transportation, which is lifecycle management to move the objects from one system to another, and also all the service dispatchers, web dispatchers, and application server, which is extended services application. There are going to be a lot of components which are part of, we're going to see them in the architecture, but understand that there are a lot of components going to be available as part of your enterprise edition purchase. So that is what I call it as database. It is not just the database, but it's a full stack database with a lot of other components in it. Okay. So now, as a data warehousing consultant, what I'm going to do, my requirement is to get data from different source systems. The source systems are going to be my transaction processing systems for my business to run. It could be an SAP system, which is your CRM, ECC, SRM, or any other, or it could be a non-SAP systems. In case of non-SAP systems, we directly access the database. So it could be Oracle, Teradata, IBM DB2S, SQL Server. Could it be any? So my objective is to bring in all the data together into my database warehouse and consolidate the data, and then model the data to fulfill the reporting requirements, and then consume or expose these objects to reporting applications so that the reporting user can access the reporting dashboards or analytical application to continue with the day-to-day business. So that is the objective of this project here, what I'm talking about. Source systems, any source systems could be. And your database platform is going to be your HANA 2.0 platform. It used to be HANA 1.0 before, now it is 2.0, the latest one. And in order to get the data into HANA database, you have to use one of the native data warehousing provisioning techniques, which are going to be BO data services. Now it is called SAP data services. They renamed it they didn't want BO to be part of data services. Now it is called SAP data services. And you also have SLT, landscape transformation, to take the data from SAP or non-SAP systems and put it into HANA database. And also you have got SDA, Smart Data Access, and Smart Data Integration. These two are native to HANA. They are not external applications. They are tightly integrated in the HANA platform, but these two are external applications you will be installing separately with different license. We're going to see all these data provisioning tools in a detailed way when we go into the topic, but by using one of these tools we will be able to pull the data from the source systems and put it into several tables in the database. We can call them staging tables or whatever the architectures we call, and then we're going to model those tables using calculation views, which could be a graphical or scripted. If you are not able to do with graphical, then you will do scripted. You also have some other objects called decision rules, or now it is turned to HANA rules framework, and etc. And then once your model is built, you will be publishing or providing these models to your business objects reporting applications. Could be Lumira, Web Intelligence Design Studio. They are very, if you are familiar with reporting applications of SAP, you will definitely know them. Or if it, I mean, we're going to see them in detail anyway. If you are really unfamiliar with these ones, it's going to be very easy things for for understanding purpose. You also can provide these applications calculation views to Fiori apps as well by using some services called OData services. That's RESTful web services. You don't need to get confused about that. We will see it later. Uh, and these are the two different applications we're going to use for reporting and analytics for Fiori as well as business objects. You can also use external applications like Tableau, um, Power BI, or the is the other one, ClickView. If you're, they are very pretty good, powerful reporting analytics tools, but you need extra licensing and some other. You need to deal with some more things when you are working in external reporting tool. These are SAP's tools, which I just showing on my presentation, but you can do you can do for the other SAP, for non-SAP reporting applications as well. So the complexity is involved in ETL. So if you are using SDI, you will be doing a lot of flow graph kind of things to transform the data, where you will also see a lot of machine learning, predictive analysis, advanced analytics, a lot of data transformations, apart from what data services transformations can give you. So SDI is going to be the future roadmap for SAP HANA. They're going to replace everything of what data services can do and what SLT can do with SDI, Smart Data Integration. So we're going to see detail in the Smart Data Integration, how does it work in the coming details of the course. And then you will spend decent time in data provisioning, all these things to get the data from source systems into HANA, and then you will spend doing the ETL, and then you will also learn how do you do the calculation views. After doing the ETL, you get into your final ETL tables, and then finally you provided this to reporting analytics. So you're going to give a lot of SQL if required here in the database platform to make it workable to your finalized model. So that's going to be another interesting topic to understand SQL, because you're working in database. So SQL is the only way to write customization to your database objects. So if if it is not graphically available, so you're going to do a lot of SQL scripting to perform actions. So that's going to be part of our course for first 6 to 7 days here. That's about the use case. I've given all the notes here to explain what I've done, what I've explained to you in this thing. I'm not really going into the Access Advanced Server, which talks about Access Application Development. If I have time at and 10:30, I'm going to talk about that Access Advanced Application Server as well. But I'm going to um, wrap it up this use case by looking into the system as well. So I've got HANA Express edition here. I'm going to open this. Probably you would have known. So this is my, you can also get this license from Cloud System. It's free. You can do all your own system setup, instance setup on your computer. So you're not going to conflict with any other person's developments here. So this is going to be my HANA Studio, or sorry, we're not going to use HANA Studio. We will be using Eclipse. HANA Studio is decommissioned. So it's already out from the latest releases, so we don't use HANA Studio going forward. So rather I will prefer to use Eclipse. And then we're going to see more in catalog versus your and also all your database artifacts are going to be here. We've got a lot of data available in HANA demo schema, which is going to be your EPM schema. So I'm going to use all these tables which are available from this schema to demonstrate several models to be built. And then also I'm going to build all my content or the calculation views or scripted things in my repository content here. So this was my previous thing in my previous batch. I'm going to create a new instance and a new package and build all my views. You can have decision tables, flow graphs, replication task, all of them given to your own ID, and there's not going to be any other user in this system because it's your own system. You can have multiple users if required, but it is in your control. That's about running applications on the client side. And you also have once you build your models, calculation views, you're going to give this to your analysis applications, which are going to be Lumira or Design Studio or any of the things. So this data warehousing, you will have two perspectives. One is your modeling perspective and also a developer perspective. Some of the SQL stored procedure which are related to application development, you can only do it from the development perspective. So we're going to concentrate more, not more, only on these two perspectives when we're talking about these two, when we're talking about the first use case, which is going to be a native HANA use case, data warehouse use case. We pull the data into the database, we run the SQLs or some ETL procedures to transform the data, and we model the data using calculation views, and then finally we provide these views as a data sources to the reporting applications. Clear? Any questions, just text me there. And then I'm going to end this topic here. Any questions, you just let me know. But we're going to see a lot in this particular use case over the period of time in this course. I'm going to talk about a little bit more on the S4HANA. I'm going to wrap it up in next 10 minutes. So as I was talking about S4HANA use case, yeah, so previously you have an ECC system running on your ERP application, and then when you migrate your ERP applications to S4 system, your database is being migrated to non-SAP to HANA, and your application is upgraded to S4 system. So previously you used to have finance and in ECC business suite. Now after migration it's going to be S4 core tables with simple finance, simple logistics, and etc. These tables are really different, and then you know, a lot of changes happened in the application side. This is application what I'm talking. You also have the database underlying it. Application plus database both together I called S4 HANA system, right? So as I said previously when I was talking, if you're an S4 HANA consultant, you hardly work in the HANA database. That's what my experience in the previous few years. So even you don't have an access to the database itself. Of course you can do whatever you are able to do in the platform with an enterprise licensing if you purchase, I mean if a customer purchased, but if you are using this HANA database as a runtime license only, license, it's just the license, it's just from the purchasing money. So if you are just using it as a runtime license, you don't even get the access to the database, because you're not going to build anything, most of the things in the database, because you got limited features in the database when you are using as a runtime license. But so far, whatever the clients have seen for S4HANA, they are using HANA as a runtime license versus enterprise license. I've got a couple of customers who also use HANA database in S4HANA for the native purpose as well. So your native is everywhere. But yeah, they paid a lot of money to get the to extend their runtime license to a native license as well. So now they got a flexibility to get the data into a BAP layer as well as the database layer when they got the enterprise license. But very few clients do that. I've seen telecom company which does that. But anyway, I'm not going to get into the details. But as an S4 consultant, what is more important for as a finance consultant, you will know a lot of finance, logistics, and several business, lot of things happen from the functional perspective. So if really an S4 HANA course, that is what I called it as an S4 HANA course, not something what really other people claiming that as S4 HANA course, I don't accept to that. So even the certification, there is no S4HANA certification for technical. You will see only for the functional, finance, logistics, and etc. Because the technical scope for the S4HANA is very limited, very, very limited, because it's going to be an ABAP HANA. So that is called ABAP HANA. It's an extension to your ABAP certification. So as I said already, I'm not going to talk about anything more on the ABAP HANA in detail, because you will be doing a lot of consistency checks after migrating to S4HANA and custom code validations and etc. Because you have ABAP previously and now you got an ABAP and S4HANA. So you got a lot of consistency, compatibility, stability, everything to be done as a migration project after the migration. For Greenfield, you will see everything in new S4HANA. Greenfield means it's a complete new implementation. Anyway, that is not my topic of the interest. My topic of the interest is CDS views, which is based on the new tables. There are certain models given by SAP. So I'm going to use those models. And then SAP has given like thousands of CDS views ready-madely already for all the finance and logistics areas. Also, they're given several apps in the Fiori as a standard way, but I can build, I can customize them, and I can build my own view according to business requirement, and I can even build my own analytical application and deploy that in Fiori app. I can also get these reporting models to business objects analytics thing, which are going to be your Lumira and Design Studio. It's completely in the application layer. When I'm talking about S4HANA perspective, I'm going to talk about only from the application perspective, not from the database perspective. So I'm not going to even access the database when I'm talking about this perspective, because that is the use case I've seen in several places versus the ABAP HANA. You got certification for ABAP HANA and also you got the certification for Fiori as a user experience UI5, but you don't have something called S4HANA. There is no, people just named it for their comfort purpose, but there is no such thing called S4HANA technical. Okay, these views, whatever you keep it here, or you are modeling the data directly based on the transaction tables itself without doing any data warehousing. So that's what SAP calling it as embedded analytics. You're not taking the data into a different system and then doing the data warehousing. You are keeping everything in the source system itself and doing the modeling on those tables directly. Then it's called embedded analytics. So which is very limited scope, because as long as you got the data only from your application, this application, it's a very good use case, but not for everybody who has got so many other systems like Hadoop and non-SAP systems to bring the data. No, that is not going to be the use case for the S4HANA analytics, embedded analytics. It's only for the people who are small and only do their reporting in the S4 system itself. It's a use case. We're going to see that in detail in this course. The last use case is BW on HANA. It's big one, but if you're familiar with BW, it's pretty simple. I'm not going to get into the detail because this is not, I'm not the one which I'm going to be interest of the topic. I'm going to spend a couple of hours during the course, but I'm really not interested to explain all the deep old, what was old, what is now new. I'm going to explain what is new objects like area source, composite providers, and etc. from the application perspective, and from the database perspective, it is same as in native data warehouse. Whatever you see there, you're going to see in BW on HANA as well. So your native, again here also you have to get the enterprise license. With runtime license of BW HANA, you cannot do all these things of SDN, etc. You got to use enterprise license, which is an extra cost, just like S4 HANA. But what is difference between S4 HANA and BW? You know it, right? Yes, your source could be S4 or ECC or any other source systems, and you can get the data into BW layer, or you can get the data into database directly. So that's called mixed scenario. People are trying out these scenarios. So you may see several clients who are using BW on HANA system. Some of the models built in BW system and some of the models built in native platform. For example, if they are extracting data from Hadoop, it's a good use case to use directly into native database versus HANA database. Versus BW on HANA system. And SAP is not suggesting to go with BW application layer. They are suggesting to go into native layers. I mean, even they are implying several licensing issues to stop people go into the application layer. So there, recently I heard, I've got a blog I can share in my link profile. So I have heard that in BW for HANA, you will not be able to use SDI or BW data services to extract the data into the BW. They have given it on BW on HANA 7.4 or 7.5 version, but in the future version, which is BW for HANA, they are implying a lot of licensing issues to get the data into this BW layer. So versus they are pushing towards getting the data into native layer. So by looking at all these three use cases, I'm saying your native platform is going to evolve a lot in the future. Could it be S4? Could it be BW or native? In all the cases, you need to do a database platform objective developments, which makes you a lot of native developer to supplement your application, because there are a lot of things which you cannot do in the application, and even also they are implementing a lot of licensing issues to do it in application. So it's going to be a lot of work in coming up in the native platform. I mean, all the inventions are coming in the native platform versus the application. Could it be BW or S4 HANA or CRM, SRM, any other SAP's application, but underlying database has to be HANA 2.0, SP02 or 3 as no option, right? If they are using as a runtime, fine, but there are customers who can use that as an enterprise warehouse as well. So that is the topic of interest for my course. So I'm going to stop here. It's 10:30. The difference between SAP S4HANA and SAP 2.0 is the database, and S4 is the ERP suite application. It is something more on the application, ERP application, but the 2.0 is the database version, which we are looking at in this course, the database platform for any of the application, S4, BW, CRM, anything. Yeah, so we will have some different perspectives to do the ABAP on development perspective. This is the one. Here we're going to see several CDS views creation, and this is for the BW modeling perspective. Here we're not going to see. I can show you some of the objects which can be developed in these perspectives. So when we are working in these perspectives, you feel that you are working in HANA, but that is a false assumption, because these two perspectives are given for creating some of the objects which can be pushed down to HANA, but they are not, you are not working in database directly when these are ABAP layers, but given in Eclipse to work on the HANA supported objects. That's the only thing. When you work in SAP HANA directly is when you're working in the modeler and as well as the application development. That's where you are really working in the database platform. These are still your ABAP layers. ABAP layers means ABAP systems, but it is not a GUI what you see SAP traditional screens with transaction, but it is an Eclipse based GUI to create several objects which are to be run in the database and pushed down to the database. They are to be created in the application, Eclipse tools for these application developments. Okay, that's about the different use cases or projects, and lastly I'm going to show you the Fury. It's a demo site. You can see from this one, see it in action. So this is the Fury. we're not going to see complete Fiori apps, how they are going to be built and how they are going to be customized, but you'll see simple query browser reports for CDS analytics to see what is. So this is a sample demo. You can see that these are the different tiles which you can see from the Fiori. And for human capital management, your timesheets, approval, your inbox, your CRM task and retail. There's a lot of things you can do in there. So if you wanted to approve timesheets, you can click on that and it goes into the timesheets window. You can see for this June 1st, you wanted to approve or reject. You can see this is a managed role based on the employee's designation and role. The roles will be assigned to them, and then and the person is going to see all the required Fiori tiles on his or her computer, her catalog. It is mobile friendly. The actions can be done in mobile, cell phone as well. It's a Fiori thing. And yeah, that's about the different we're not as for analytics part. I think we may require to understand some Fiori application, so for that purpose we will see some more on the Fiori parts, analytical applications in Fiori. That's about the use cases. What is our course objective? Coming to the topics, explain all the use cases as for BW and native, and my focus is going to be, which is use case 1, database platform, and then this is a certification HANA MP13, material is 100 and 300. I'm going to cover all these topics in these two books, and then you're good for certification, SAP certification at the end of this course. I also give several dumb previous questions to explain you, and then it becomes easy for you to write the certification. The topics we're going to look at is SQL, data modeling, provisioning, and reporting. For SQL, I've got all the files already prepared, so you're going to take the syntax and practice for different examples in each session. And then we also see the data provisioning of BODS and consuming them in reporting applications. And as for analytics serious view is one topic which I'm going to bring from the use case 2. That's it. And that's about the course, which is going to take 40 hours. And then server access you will get for the cloud platform, and then I'll explain how to get it. It's going to be a working sessions daily, and recordings will be shared every day at the end of this session, or maximum by next day. Any questions? You can just let me know. I will be able to answer. I'm going to unmute everyone. One more topic I did not specify here, which is Access Advanced. That's the latest one. I don't think it's available in the market. It's basically microservices architecture, which is going to be part of here. Which is going to be part of the use case of native data warehousing. Currently, we are using Access Classic as an application server. This is going to be an Access Advanced. It's already introduced in SP11, but it got more new functions and capabilities in HANA 2.0 SP01 and then 2. So if you are looking at as HANA 2.0 version, without XSA, it is not big difference. Whatever you saw in 1.0 is exactly same as what is in 2.0 as well. So people can say 2.0, but it doesn't really mean 2.0 until you have, I mean, there is no change you will see with 2.0 if you're not migrating to Access Advanced, but still people are really not migrated to, customers not migrated to 2.0, migrated to 2.0, but still they are maintaining on Access Classic, but not on the Access Advanced. Access Advanced is going to be the future, maybe not this year, but next year it's going to be definitely people have to migrate it to Access Advanced, because Access Classic is being deprecated. So there is no option for the customers. Some point in time they have to migrate to Access Advanced, which is cloud-based application development and microservices architecture. Your whatever you would have learned so far in doing the models in Studio are gone already. I mean, there is a different architecture, different modeling, different tools which you got. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on that. So which you may have to learn everything. So there's no HANA Studio. This is all going to be web application developer. It's not web IDE what you used to see before. It's going to be, come on. It's going to be completely different application for creating the views, of creating the flow graph or creating the SDI, whatever you are going to do, you're going to do in a cloud kind of a cloud type. We are moving towards very close to the cloud things, cloud based developments. On-premise and cloud will become much closer going forward. So you're going to have some personal workspace, personal database. You're going to create all your tables and files and flow graphs and kind of a calculation views for this matter. You're going to do most of the things in the web-based application development, because HANA Studio is being deprecated, which is replaced with this particular application developments. You see graphical interface for many of the things. So this is Access Advanced. So you also have Access the database. You're not going to see this old schemas as in Access Classic. You're going to see completely different schemas, containers, and you also see something called Git repository to make your source controls properly working with multiple developers working at the same time. So it's more very easy or comfortable for Java developers, but eventually that is where SAP going towards. So you will have to understand XSE, maybe not now, but some point in time you may have to know. Yeah, that's up to you if you're, but it's, yeah, certification of SP01 and HANA 2 has it, this web IDE and application development in cloud based tools. If you are through with this one also, then you will be able to understand XSE development. I don't think is there any course outside, and because it's too difficult to understand the microservices architecture, because you may have to work on the access commands, some of the commands like access apps and access up. Usually we don't do this in the as a developer because these are all meant for the basis, but going forward we will have to do a lot of application development, services creations and database creations as a developer as well. So for that you may be a little have to be comfortable in understanding the services and APIs, etc. Right? So that's about the access application development, which is going to be how we were doing in Eclipse before. All these models are not applicable going forward. That's what I was trying to say. The modeling has been changed from the Access Classic to Access application a lot, right? So customers not yet migrated, but they will eventually migrate it because it's been deprecated. You cannot work in HANA Studio in the future because they stopped improving the HANA Studio in 2018. I mean, the last update what I have got in Studio was in 2017 December. So all the further developments for the client tools are going to be in this microservices architecture, which is Access Advanced and Web IDE instead of HANA Studio. Okay, so that's about the topics which I wanted to cover, and then these are going to be the course topics going forward. Okay, good. Then I'm going to wrap this session then, if you have no questions. Yeah, for any other if you wanted to ask any further information, you can contact me on these email IDs, or you can, my LinkedIn profile as well. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.